So far, I've been creating content for YouTube for the last 6 years. I started off when I was 15, and it's safe to say I never in my wildest dreams thought it would ever become my full-time job. I'm so grateful for all the incredible experiences it's brought me, but the real question is, how did it all start? This is my YouTube story. Everybody, this is Esme and welcome back to another video. So today I thought I would redo my riding story as so many of you guys have requested it, but also today's video is going to be a bit of my YouTube story as well because both sort of go hand in hand. I've been doing YouTube since 2015 and last time I made my riding story video, well, the first time I've made it, that was back in 2018 and I'm currently filming in 2022, so a lot has happened since then. Also, I thought I'd make today's video for maybe some of you guys that are new to the channel because we have now hit over 750,000 subscribers, which still blows my mind today, so thank you so much to everybody who is subscribed and watches my videos. It really does mean the world to me. So yeah, there's a lot of new people, but also if you've maybe been watching my videos for years and years, I'm sure I'm going to be talking about a few sort of things from the past that I've never talked about before on my channel. So I thought I'd start off right from the beginning on how I got into riding. So I come from a completely non-equestrian background. None of my family, none of my parents ride. I feel like that's quite rare in the equestrian community, especially definitely when I first started riding. So apparently before I was even born, my parents would always say, no, my child is never riding a horse, it's too dangerous or expensive or all that kind of stuff. And living in the British countryside or growing up in the British countryside, at our old house, the local riding school used to ride past my house every Saturday morning. And from as soon as I could talk or even just point, I would always point at the horses. And it's something that I've always kind of remembered me wanting to do, riding horses, being with horses. I've always been an animal lover. Even things like going on holiday. Apparently I would point at all the dogs in my pram, things like that. And it wasn't actually until a friend's 5th birthday party that I rode a horse for the first time ever. My parents would always tell me that I was too small or too young because being a June baby, I was always the sort of youngest in my year group. So for my 5th birthday, I got my sort of first ever riding lesson as well. I can't actually remember too much because I was quite young. I remember just being walked on the lead rein pretty much for the friend's birthday party and also my first lesson, but obviously I absolutely loved it and I'm still riding today. So I went to the local riding school every Saturday morning and they used to lead me around in the woods, and then obviously as I got older I progressed. I started riding in the sand school, learning to walk, trot, canter, jump, and then I was really lucky that one of my best friends at school, her mum had a pony and they couldn't really find anywhere to keep it, so we were very lucky that we had a small holding, so we had a bit of land, a bit of grass, and that's where the donkeys come in as well. Completely forgotten about the donkeys, don't worry. So the donkeys have always been in my life. I've been really lucky to always have donkeys. It's a really weird story behind the donkeys. Basically the people that owned the house before we did had a divorce and it was a bit of a messy divorce. So some of the donkeys the wife got, some of the donkeys the husband got to be petty, even though apparently they were kind of like the wives' donkeys. So there were just these 3 donkeys, Bruno, Toby and Willow, that were in the field. They were pretty sort of unhandled, didn't really do much. They kind of just survived off grass and water. When my parents got the house before I was born, they were kind of like, hey, we have some donkeys. We're trying to get rid of them, but we haven't got a home for them yet. Would you like to look after them for the time being? And then my parents were like, yeah, sure. And then in the end, they couldn't find a home for the donkeys, so my parents ended up getting them instead. So that is the story behind the donkeys that I feel like I haven't really told ever before on my channel. So anyway, back to my friend's mum, whose older brother had a pony called Bradley. Was Bradley my first ever lone pony? Kind of. It kind of all happened at once. But Bradley was pretty much my first lone pony. basically they kept him on the land and would help look after the donkeys, poo picking, all that kind of stuff. And in return, every now and again, I'd get a free ride on Bradley, which I absolutely loved. It was kind of like, it was a bit like having my own pony, but obviously it wasn't my own. We didn't have any of these sort of pressures of vet bills, making sure that he saw the farrier and all the things that go into the care of looking after a horse. A different lone pony as well at one point called Lola, and she was very young. We did a bit of showing, bits and bobs with her, but obviously this was such a long time ago now. It seems like a lifetime ago, but obviously that was quite sad when I had to say goodbye to both of my lone ponies. So then it was time to find a new one, and that is Mickey, that you guys know today and absolutely love. Still have my boy. So we started off sort of loaning him. He was kind of on trial for a month, and I absolutely fell in love with him. And it was really nice that before, when we had Bradley, you know, we had my friend's mum who very kindly like taught me how to tack up, everything to do with owning a horse and caring for a horse. So Mickey was my first ever pony, still have him today. He's getting a little bit older now, but still he is a massive part of the channel and you guys all love him. So then after about a year of owning Mickey, for one Christmas, I was very, very lucky that I got a trailer, so it meant that we could take Mickey out and about. I love this trailer to bits. It was old and rusty, third hand, but it did the job, and it meant that we could go on so many adventures together, and we even joined Pony Club and did Pony Club Camp and all that kind of stuff. Then as I got older, of course, you know, I was 8 at the time when we got Mickey. I grew, and unfortunately it did get to the stage where I did get a little bit too big for Mickey. Mickey was never the best at show jumping. You know, he was an absolutely awesome first pony, taught me so much. We went on so many cool rides together. We absolutely loved hacking. So something I actually did with Mickey as we've strayed away from show jumping, because that wasn't really his thing. We actually did a lot of mounted games and competed for my pony club in that, and we both had so much fun, an absolute blast. And then we got to the stage where, you know, to progress with my riding, I needed to look for a different pony. Now, we had this sort of option where it was either sell Mickey, because obviously owning a horse is expensive and horses are expensive in general, and having a bigger budget for pony number 2, or getting rid of Mickey. And for me, my horses are my family. I feel like it's totally different to people I've talked to when you have your horse at home. They really are a family member, and they definitely are for me. But also Mickey started to develop a few different health problems, so selling him we weren't going to get much money from, and we all loved him and we were all very attached. And I feel like Mickey, as ponies come, he has a lot of character. He has a huge personality, as you know. So our budget for a second horse was a lot smaller, and you know, I'm still so grateful to even be able to say that I own horses. You know, it really is a privilege. So when we were looking for Casper, we ended up looking for about a year to find him, because obviously the horse market we found really tricky to find something that was around 14-15 hands. There really weren't many horses out there. So Casper was a 7-year-old at the time when we bought him, who was very green, very unexperienced, and we bought him from someone through the Pony Club he was apparently a bit too much for their daughter, but you know, he was within our budget and he had a talent for show jumping, so we were like, yep, we've been trying to find a horse for a year, he's the one. So we took Casper home, and he was a little bit wild. So Casper was a very young, very green, very unexperienced Connemara pony who, before we got him, actually previously was in Ireland. So his previous owners bought him from Ireland, and all he'd really done in Ireland was hunting. So he hadn't really been ridden much in an arena or with fancy coloured fences or coloured sticks. So going out and about, especially with Pony Club, it was a lot for him, and at the time, you know, all we had were a few movable field shelters in a field. We didn't have an arena, and in the UK, it is really tricky to ride when you don't have an arena for half the year, because in the winter, especially where we are, the ground gets so muddy and horrible, you can't really ride in the fields. So a lot of the time we were just hacking on the roads, and then at weekends I would go to my instructor's yard where I would ride him in the arena or at Pony Club. Now, my first ever ride on Casper at my instructor's place, he bronked me off twice, and then my instructor was like, oh okay, I'll get on him, because can't lie, Casper was a little bit big for me at the time. My parents are kind of like, she'll grow into him, it will be fine, you know, save on money. And then my instructor got on him, and she also got bronked off. So for the rest of the lesson, we decided, you know what, he needs to go on the lunge, give him a zoom around. Also at the time, the horses were in quite a bit because we had these horrible rains and floods at the time. This was back in 2014. So I was about 12. I was 12 when we got Casper. And so I was still pretty young. I'd been riding for a good couple of years. The jump from Mickey to Casper really was huge because Mickey was a plod along sort of pony and Casper was unexperienced. I was unexperienced. It was sort of a bit of a recipe for disaster. But I had my instructor to help me, and Casper definitely was a little bit of a project. Basically, Casper was kind of like a project pony that we weren't gonna sell at the end of it, you know? And then as time went on, I did more pony club activities. I started to really get a bond with Casper. And then it was about after around a year of owning him, it got to the stage where my parents were like, this is probably not the normal experience a child has when they own a pony. You know, I was pretty much being bucked off every single time I would go to pony club or ride Casper. So it so much became a thing that would drive in home in the car in the trailer, and like my dad would hold up how many fingers for how many times I'd been bucked off by Casper, or if I hadn't been bucked off at all, it was a thumbs up, and it was very, very rarely a thumbs up. Anyway, my parents got to the stage, they were like, look, you're falling off way too much, this horse is too much for you, all this kind of thing, and they were really worried. You know, they obviously didn't want their child to get injured, or they could see that it did upset me being the kid that would always fall off compared to, you know, my friends that maybe whose parents had a larger budget for a pony. And at all, I was never, like the whole time I was very mature about it, I was never kind of like spoilt or in the way where I was like, oh, I wish I had a better pony or anything like that, because I loved Casper and Casper was enough for me, and I knew what an incredible pony Casper was. I could see so much potential in him. I knew that he could jump, and he absolutely loves jumping. And it did get to the stage where my parents sat me down and they said to me, look, Esme, we can't do this anymore. We're gonna have to get rid of Casper. And that was probably one of the hardest conversations I've had in my life. So I'll try not to get teary for this bit because it always makes me a little bit emotional, and I feel like I've talked about it so many times now, but it still does bring up sort of sad memories. And after that, I was like 100% determination, perseverance, and I was like, we can do this, Casper. When he was nervous, I had to be brave for him, and I feel like that really helped Casper in general. He was just a nervous horse that hadn't been out much, was unexperienced, and by me, kind of, the best way I can describe it is kind of like fake it till you make it, and that's kind of what I did with my confidence. Even though I was scared when Casper was spooking or bucking, I knew in myself that I had to be brave, if not, I would lose Casper. And Casper really is one of the main reasons why I started my YouTube channel, because I tried to get my parents to film as much as they could, because I could see the progress that we were making. Of course, there were times where it felt like we were taking 2 steps back and 1 step forward, but in the end, we were always taking more steps forward than back, and I could really see the progress. And around that time where my parents were thinking of maybe selling Casper on or something like that, that was one of the things that really terrified me, because Casper obviously was a bit of a nervous horse. He wasn't the easiest. I was really worried about where he would end up. So I made a YouTube video, and it was actually a video on my phone that I ended up posting onto YouTube because my phone would always run out of storage and I didn't have much storage at the time. So I made this big video that had kind of like our whole journey in. I don't know if I still have it. I think it's just called Casper somewhere on my hard drives. And it's got like this horrible no copyright music. But I made it and I showed it to my parents being like, look, this is how much we've progressed together. This is how much I love this horse and I will do anything to keep him. And we really started to progress after that. I learned how to sit his bucks. He calmed down a little bit more because I was brave for him. And I had so many lessons. I had so much help from different people, instructors. And I definitely wouldn't recommend, if you're unexperienced with riding or new to riding, getting a young horse, because it is not easy. Get something that's been there, done it, knows what it's doing. But yeah, then things really started to be on the up. And I also, by, you know, making those progress videos with Casper that I'd upload to YouTube because, you know, my phone will run out of storage and I only thought my friends and things would watch them. That's kind of how I started YouTube. I really discovered my love for filmmaking and editing, and it's something that I've always had a passion for. I think that just really made me realise a little bit more. So for example, back in the day, me, my brother and my brother's friend used to play in the woods with my mum's iPhone 4 at the time. This was before we had our own phones, and we would like pretend to film Doctor Who episodes or things like that. I remember when I was very lucky to get my first ever phone, I would film video stars of my guinea pigs and different songs and kind of make like a guinea pig music video. That's kind of when I started my horsey YouTube. So I've been watching YouTube for quite a while. I kind of started when I was a teenager, so I was probably like 12, 13 when I first started watching YouTube. And you know, I actually started watching YouTube because I used to like watching videos on what you needed for your first dog. Still don't have a dog yet. One day when I move out and all that kind of stuff. And then one summer, I really wanted to make a YouTube channel. This was probably about 2014, this was 2015 at the time. And I actually made quite a few videos, never published them. Now, these were sort of vlogs, and there weren't many people doing horsey vlogs at the time. It was pretty much just like edits. I am a very shy person. I'm an introvert. I take a while to, for people to kind of get to know me in real life. I feel like I'm definitely a very shy person, but YouTube's obviously made me a lot more confident. And I didn't really want to publish any of my videos that I made, even though I was proud of them and I was really happy with them. You know, I was worried about what people at school would say. I was worried what people on the internet would say. And little 14-year-old me was like, I'll just keep these for myself, kind of like a video diary. It was kind of, you know, actually, rewind, one of the first videos, I completely forgot about this. One of the first videos I uploaded to YouTube, and that's why I made my YouTube channel, this was back in the day when YouTube was a very different place, and people would upload videos of really funny, like, I don't know, like a panda sneezing. It was that kind of stuff. It was like a few second videos that was a little bit funny and people would be like, haha, that's really cool. I'll share that to my friend. So I had a video when we first got Casper where Casper was rolling, and I still don't know what was in Mickey in this day. He had the like devil in him. Mickey kicked Casper while rolling. And I thought, oh my goodness, what in the world? Don't worry, Casper is completely fine. But I thought, I'll upload this to the internet. This is gonna go viral. It's gonna get so many views. My horse is gonna be famous. That was the only video I ever thought would do well on my channel. Don't actually know how many views it's got. Anyway, back to me being shy and not wanting to post any videos on YouTube. I then decided, kind of around 2016, I started uploading sort of GoPro videos, like sort of ride with me kind of videos, and then slowly I started doing videos where I would vlog and I'd actually be talking in them. I feel like for a lot of people, when you first start off doing social media, listening to your voice back while editing is a painful experience. Now, like, I'm not used to it, but it doesn't make me feel as weird as it did back in the day. So that was one of the other reasons why I was like, I don't really want to talk in videos. I don't want my face in videos. And then I think one of the first videos that I did where, I can't remember if I talked or not, it's such a long time ago, so I apologise if I get any of this information wrong because it was so long ago now, is I did a GoPro how to tack up a horse English. Now this was one of the first videos that I posted that, I'm not going to say I blew up or it went viral or anything like that, but it probably got about 1,000 views in 2 weeks. And for me, that was way more views, likes, and anything like that, and subscribers that I had ever got. And I was like, oh my goodness, people are watching my video who aren't my immediate friends and family. What is happening? So little did I know, back in the day, this was probably, 2016. That's why there were all the sort of weird 5-minute craft videos, because tutorials were what YouTube was pushing at the time. And my video ended up being the first video that would pop up if somebody Googled how to tack up a horse. I didn't think ever at all YouTube would be my full-time job. I never thought there would be enough people who liked horses, because it is a very niche sport, that would want to watch my videos. So I never thought, you know, it would end up being my job or anything like that. It was just something that I did because I genuinely really enjoyed making videos, as I said before. I thought, you know what, there is probably a lot of people out there who come from a non-equestrian background like me, who maybe are at a riding school that just teach you how to ride. I was lucky that, you know, my riding school did teach me quite a lot of horse care and things as well, so I was very lucky about that. I know a lot of my friends maybe who came from a non-equestrian background and learnt how to ride through a riding school. Not all of them were taught all the care and things like that, so that's kind of why I started doing a few more tutorial videos, and I also started doing vlogs as well, again a bit like a video diary, so I could look back on my time with Casper, because at the time I didn't know how long I'd be able to keep my boy, so that's also another reason why I started my YouTube channel. It was the summer after my GCSE exams when I was just turned 16, so this was 2017 at the time. That was when I hit 10,000 subscribers, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what on earth? I was like, guys, I'm a real YouTuber now. And I feel like there are so many little things where back in the day, you know, I just had so much love for making videos. I just got so excited because I felt like a proper YouTuber, if that makes sense. Because obviously there were other people doing horse YouTube, but it was definitely not very mainstream at all. It was very much within the equestrian community, and that was it still is an absolutely huge milestone. And that was when I was kind of like, oh my goodness, this is a thing now. People watch my videos, what on earth? So it was kind of after that I started posting every Friday afternoon, and I pretty much have posted at least one video a week since 2017, so that's a lot of filming and editing when you think about it, and a lot of the weeks I posted 2 videos as well. I'm gonna have to look at my channel analytics because I don't actually know how many videos I made. It must be around 600 or something. So as much as I tried to keep my YouTube channel a secret, not because I was worried about what my friends thought, because obviously my friends were very supportive. That's what friends are, you know, they're not supposed to make fun of you or make you feel uncomfortable. I was more worried about the sort of popular girls, or should I more say nasty girls, because I was a horse girl who had a YouTube channel. I was bullied at school. But anyway, it was something that, you know, although they were pretty nasty to me, it wasn't something that sort of made me that upset, because I enjoyed riding horses and I enjoyed making videos. I feel like it's a very sad thing to do, to make fun of someone that enjoys something that isn't hurting anybody else or affecting anybody else. So, you know, I was like, I'm just gonna be me. I enjoy this, you know. You trying to take away that enjoyment isn't gonna work. I think people started finding out about it when I was in my last year at school, so when I was about 15, because in the UK there's like high school finishes at 16 and then you have 2 years of college before you turn 18 and are an adult. But anyway, I was in my last year of school, and I'd probably been doing YouTube for a couple of months, and probably more than that, about a year-ish. And this boy came up to me and he was like, oh, Esme, I heard you have a YouTube channel, that kind of thing, trying to embarrass me in front of everyone, being like, how many subscribers do you have? And I just turned around to him and I just said, over 1,000, and then just walked off. And I feel like that is the sassiest Esme moment of my life. So I feel like that's one of the things that a lot of people ask me is, what did people think of my YouTube channel at school? And a lot of the teachers actually found out, and people, you know, the nice ones would ask me like, oh, what video's coming out this Friday? And things like that, because obviously I've been posting videos pretty much every Friday for, I don't know how long now, since 2016, 2017, a good couple of years. So then it was time for me to start college, or sixth form college. It's from the ages of 16 to 18, where I was studying biology, chemistry and geography. I did really well in my GCSE exams, getting like A's and A stars. So I was like, I want to be a vet. That's what I want to do. I even had a part-time job at a vet's practice. So what I would do is I'd do my studies during the day, and then in the evening I'd walk down and do cleaning at the vet. So I'd be picking up dog poo, cleaning the kennels, mopping up blood, lovely stuff. But it was such an incredible experience, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why I feel like I've grown up quite quickly, because from the age of 16 I have been working with adults. I had a lot on my plate. So yeah, because I had school, work, and then YouTube as well. And that's when my channel really started to take off. I went from 100 subscribers, and then a year later I had 1,000 subscribers, and then a year later I had 10,000 subscribers, and then a year later after that, when I was 17, I hit 100,000 subscribers. And that was when it kind of really hit me that, oh my goodness, this could be a thing. This could be what I do. I was like, I'm a proper YouTuber now. I've got my 100K plaque. It still is mind-boggling to this day when you think about numbers compared to like a stadium and real life people. It was around sort of then that I was getting paid by YouTube, and you know, I feel like it's something that YouTubers never talk about, is the money side of things. And for me, YouTube I never did because of the money. I did it for like 3 or 4 years before I even got a single penny from YouTube, and I feel like that's a really nice place to start YouTube because it is very demanding. You have to really love what you do because it is a lot of hard work. I probably work about 80 hours a week on the channel, if that's filming, editing, business calls, all the other sort of top secret behind the scenes things that I do that I can't talk about yet, which I feel like YouTubers always saying is really annoying, but there's always a secret project going on, whatever a YouTuber says. So around that sort of time, I started getting a bit of money from YouTube. And around that time, I also kind of decided, after working at the vet's practice, I kind of had second thoughts about if being a vet is really what I wanted to do. It was around that time where I found out I was dyslexic as well. So although for my GCSE exams, I did really well because I worked really hard, going on to A-levels, I was still working really hard with revising, homework, extra lessons from my teachers where I felt like I was struggling a little bit more. And I kind of decided, look, I don't think going down the vet route is personally for me. And I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I knew was that I wanted to have an outsidey sort of job that involved animals. So I was actually thinking about doing physiotherapy and then going into veterinary physio, where I could do like horses on a water treadmill kind of thing and horsey massages. Obviously it's a bit more than that, but to put it into like fun terms, I don't know, I just really wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do in my life. And I feel like every sort of 18-year-old goes to that stage where they're like, okay, I've finished all the education that I'm required to do. What do I do with my life? So I decided to have a gap year because I wanted to do a little bit of travel. And also I decided, you know what, this YouTube thing's doing pretty well. At the time, it wasn't really, I could live off the money, but only just. And again, I feel like talking about money in YouTube is something YouTubers never do. And I am very fortunate to say that it is my full-time job. It is what I do. But for my gap year, you know, I managed to earn enough money. Like all the money that I earned, I saved. I didn't spend any of my YouTube money. And that money I then re-put into the channel. So the first thing that I properly bought with my YouTube money was a laptop, and as you guys know, nice Apple Mac laptops are rather expensive, because at the time I was just editing all of my videos on the family computer that I was sharing with Max, and obviously we had to take turns. Sometimes Max wanted to go on the computer, sometimes I wanted to go on the computer, and I couldn't just be like, Max, I need to edit my YouTube video now. Off you get. So having my own laptop was something that really helped me. I think I had 250,000 subscribers when I finished school, and that was June 2019, so I've been doing YouTube as my full-time job since then. 3 years. That's a long time. It feels weird because it feels like yesterday, but then it also feels like ages ago because so much has happened, and obviously having a global pandemic in the middle of it. It was kind of near the beginning of 2020 that I started working with brands a lot more, and that is something that I am ever so grateful. For me, obviously YouTube's my job, but I don't know how much YouTube is going to pay me each month. It depends on how many of you guys watch my videos and if people watch the ads or if people click on the ads. There are so many different factors, and there are also so many different factors that I can't control when it comes to, you know, how my channel's doing. For example, if there's a big reality TV show like Love Island on, my views might drop because everyone wants to watch that rather than YouTube. Or for example, it's Christmas and everyone's posting loads of videos because they know that everyone's at home for the holidays, and there are a lot more YouTubers posting a lot more videos. People might watch other people's rather than mine, or videos might get lost in someone's subscription box, or so many different things. Or maybe the YouTube algorithm decides to suddenly change, all this kind of stuff. And before they were pushing longer format videos, and now shorter format videos are doing better. There is a lot with my job. There are lots of different factors. So being able to have the brands to work with really does make it so I can do YouTube as my full-time job. So if suddenly all the ad revenue I earned disappeared, I would still be able to make videos. And I'm very lucky to say I'm pretty sure I'm the first ever equestrian YouTuber to do YouTube as their full-time job, because it is a very unstable job. This could all go tomorrow, and I'm so grateful to say that I love what I do, and it is a lot of hard work and I put so much effort into things. I wouldn't want to do anything else. That's why I am so grateful for all the brands and horse shows that I've worked with over the years, because it means that I can do this. That's why when I was younger and I used to watch other horsey YouTubers, they might do it for a few years and then something else comes along, like they go to university or they get a full-time job and they don't have the time to do it, because YouTube really is I'd describe it as it's kind of like you're on a hamster wheel, and if you get off, everything goes away. You know, if I miss an upload 1 week, the YouTube algorithm will be like, she's not posting anymore, she doesn't care about YouTube, we're gonna promote somebody else. So it's something that I've always been very conscious to try and upload a video once a week, because there are so many YouTubers that I used to watch back when I was a kid that I absolutely loved, and then they slowly just kind of faded away as new opportunities came up or they got burnt out, which is very common for YouTubers. I don't want it to seem like I'm complaining about the job or anything like that, because I know that there are people that would die to be in the position that I'm in, and I am ever so grateful, and I do not take it for granted one bit. There is a lot of pressure when it comes to being a YouTuber, seeming like the perfect person all the time, and I'm sure that I am not perfect. I will make mistakes in the future. I've probably made mistakes in the past. I have grown quite a bit since I've started YouTube. I started off doing it when I was about 14, 15, and now I'm 21. So I started kind of as a teen, and now I'm a full-on adult, which is very scary to say. I feel like I've been very lucky that I haven't really had this much, but a lot of YouTubers, as they grow older, people will be like, oh, you've changed, you're not the same person anymore, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like throughout my journey, I've always been very true to myself, but obviously I'm not the same person as I was when I was 15. I'm a lot more confident, I'm not as shy, and I've got YouTube to thank for that. But then also YouTube isn't always the kindest place. I've had some absolutely horrible comments and things said to me by strangers on the internet, and I feel like I definitely went through a stage where I believed those comments, but now I've grown a lot as a person. I'm a lot more mature, and I know that the opinions that matter to me the most are the people that I love and are close to me in my life. So obviously my friends and family, when it comes to my riding, my instructors that know me and my horses in real life and know the whole story. And for me, I've always kind of shown the horsey parts of my life. But then also, one of the reasons why my channel has grown way bigger than I ever expected is because there are so many people out there who love animals and have started riding because of my videos, which if you're one of those people, please comment down below, because it honestly makes my day hearing people finding their passion through some girl in England making videos with her horses on the internet. So thank you, it warms my heart so much. Back to the riding story. As I said, the YouTube story and the riding story kind of merge. So this was when, you know, a few years ago now, 2020, what a time to be alive. Just before everything kicked off, I was very lucky that I was in the position to look for a third horse. Now, Casper, I hadn't outgrown in height-wise, but a little bit in ability-wise. You know, Casper, he is an awesome horse. I'm so lucky to have him, and we've accomplished so much together. If that was competing on our Pony Club show jumping team at Hickstead, to just being able to do canter right without being disunited, because that was something that took me so long to do with him. I was very lucky that I was in the position to buy my first ever horse. This was a horse that I was buying with all the money that I'd earned from YouTube by myself, but also, you know, Casper's a pony, so it was kind of like my first big big horse. And I feel like there is, if you've done the jump, there is a very big step between pony and horse. I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me to get it right first time, and luckily I have. But looking for a new horse, as excited as I was also very scared. It wasn't just going to be my horse. This was a horse that so many of you guys would hopefully love as much as I do and would watch on the channel. And that's when we found Joey. Joey at the time was a 5-year-old. Oh my gosh, he's 8 now. Oh my gosh, Joey, you're not baby Joey anymore. Oh, if you've seen my confidence video, I talk a little bit more about my time with Joey and our journey. But basically, buying a 5-year-old horse and then a global pandemic coming along isn't the easiest thing, but of course I cannot complain at all about not being able to go out and do fun things with my baby horse when obviously the world was a very, very bad place and there are so many people that went through awful things and have lost family members and things like that. So I don't want to seem like I am complaining at all. It was a big thing for my family at the time because both of them were working for the NHS. So Joey and I were supposed to be very well supported with our first sort of time together. You know, we were going to go out and have lots of different lessons with lots of different people, and that obviously didn't happen. Now, the first sort of year, it was great. We were building up Joey's muscle, and then it was sort of our first autumn winter together where Joey felt like a totally different horse. He'd built up all this muscle, all this strength, and I wasn't used to riding such a powerful horse. And there were a few times where I got a bit left behind over jumps, or maybe felt a little bit out of control, or a little bit like, oh my goodness, he's zooming off with me. I have no brakes. I'm gonna die. But no, it was okay. I did lose my confidence pretty badly because he would do this thing where he would like kind of leap in the air and put his head down, and obviously that would unstable me, and I fell off a few times doing that. One of the times was when I broke my rib. Again, I have a better story time in more detail about that. I also hit my head very hardly, and I went through all these different sort of confidence knocks, and I wasn't really in a very great place. After that, we had lots of lessons. We did things until they became boring. So at first it was flat work, and then adding poles, and then doing cross poles, and then cross poles felt too easy, and then we moved them to proper fences. We also had lots of other different lockdowns in the UK, which might be different for different countries, but that also kind of stopped and started things a little bit. Now Joey and I are in a great place, and he has improved so much. He's gained so much more muscle. He's a lot stronger. He's really pushing over fences, and it's like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm riding a show jumper and not a gangly youngster anymore. We started doing a few more shows and things, doing really well in dressage, where we got our first rosette together, which was very fun. So the next thing I need to do is get out and do some show jumping with him, which I haven't been able to do recently because I've been very, very busy with filming and YouTube and work. But anyway, so that's the plan with Joey. The plan is to do show jumping with him. And one of the other things was having that huge break from competing. You know, I stopped competing when I was around 16. I used to compete quite a lot with Casper. Casper was very much a horse where he'd either go double clear with the fastest time, or he would stop at the first fence and I would go crashing into it. It was a bit of a, what sort of mood is Casper in today? Is he going to be nervous? Or is he going to be a superstar? So I stopped competing because I was focusing on my studies, also doing my work experience at the vets, and built the house that we currently live in as well. So life was a pretty crazy time, and it still is, to be honest. So that is pretty much my riding story, where I'm up to, but it doesn't finish there, because although it's not my riding story, it is my horsey story, and that is getting Duke. So yes, horse number 4. Who would have thought it? 4 greys as well. I promise I did not do that on purpose. One of my favourite things that I've been able to do because of YouTube is promote all the charities that I have. You know, I've been to Senegal with the Brick charity that I'm an ambassador for, done stuff with World Horse Welfare, with the Riding for the Disabled Association, the British Horse Society, Blue Cross, Cancer Research, just to name a few. I'll leave some links below if you'd like to check them out, because I always try to promote the charities as much as I can. But anyway, we were filming at World Horse Welfare. This is our 3rd time filming at one of their rehoming centres, and we were just filming. You know, I've always wanted to rehome a rescue horse. It's something I've always wanted to do. We were filming along, and then this little grey Welsh fluffy thing came zooming up to us. We kind of fell in love with him. Also, something I haven't really said along my YouTube journey or story is who is my camera person? And that is my dad. I am very, very lucky to say that I'm able to work with my family. So I actually employ my dad full-time now. And it's something that I've never talked about and something that we've never really wanted to talk about because I've faced a lot of misogyny in my time on YouTube. Just the equestrian world in general is so many years behind on so many different things, but that's a little bit of a different topic that I won't touch on today, but definitely needs to be touched on. A lot of people would assume that because my dad works with me, and just to say, I started off doing this all on my phone, all on my own. It was really when I was doing my A-level exams that my dad could see that what I was doing was pretty cool, and he was like, you know what, she is struggling a little bit, she has got a lot of workload on her. So one day I came home from school and my dad was searching how to edit, and I taught him how to edit so he could help with my editing workload. And it was something that happened really gradually. It wasn't like my dad suddenly came along and took everything over, or for example, my dad was the person who made me start my YouTube channel, all this kind of stuff. And my dad was very much like, I don't want people to think that this is my thing. Esme, this is your thing. It's something you've done from the start on your own, that, you know, you've grown, and I'm just here to help and support you when you need it, where I was doing my A-levels. And then obviously it kind of became a job. A YouTube channel, especially with horses, it is very difficult to film yourself and focus on the horse and all the other stuff. So having someone to help me film my videos. When I first sort of started getting views and things on YouTube, I would be interviewed by magazines or by different things on the internet, and people would always try and twist the story that my dad was this sort of mastermind that made everything up. And he won't mind me saying this, that, you know, this is my channel, this is my kind of thing, but he's always been very, very supportive and has wanted to be in a position where if I decide to go, you know what, I don't want to do YouTube anymore, that's fine. He can do other things, and I'm very, very grateful for that, and I'm grateful for all his help he's done. And it's really lovely to say that we work together full time. And a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I could not work with my dad full time. We do have creative differences, I can't lie, but it's nice that he always makes sure that I get the final say, I get the final decision. He likes to let people know that I am the boss. But no, we do work very well together, and I know that because I am working with my dad, he works very, very hard, we both do, but he will always want the best for me. And the equestrian world and the media world can be a snaky place, you know, people can let you down, and I'll know that he'll always try his best, and it's a very lovely thing. We both do the editing together, because if not, I wouldn't be able to make as many videos as I do. And I felt guilty when he first started helping me out with the editing, because I did struggle at the time because I was trying to do really well in my exams at the same time, but I wanted to make sure that it felt like it was still my channel and it was authentic. So I taught him how to edit in my style, and we kind of edit them together. So I'll go over it once, and then he'll go over it again, and then I'll go over it again, because editing takes a very long time, and not many people know this, but I absolutely love it. I love having the sort of creative outlook and doing filmmaking. YouTube has given me so many incredible opportunities that I will remember for the rest of my life, and I'm so ever so grateful for. If that's all the amazing riders and people that I've met, the horses that I've ridden, the places that I've been, it's something that if you told 15, 14-year-old me that started this channel that this is where I'd end up, I would never believe her. So I just want to say thank you again for watching my videos, because it really does, it's meant that I'm here where I am right now, and I am very, very grateful. But as I said before, YouTube has also meant that so many of you guys have discovered riding, and that's something that I really have tried to do, or I'm trying to do at the moment on my channel with my How to Start Riding series, where I've been going to lots of different riding schools across the UK, where they're a charity and they do incredible things making riding more accessible to all, especially for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds, because I understand what the equestrian community can be like, and it can not always be the happiest, warmest, welcoming place. That is my dream. My dream is to try and make riding and horses accessible to all, because these really are absolutely incredible animals, and they have made my life so much better just being around horses in general is so good for your mental health. Also, riding them is good for your physical health. You just gotta love horses. So that's what I've been doing recently, and I do have lots of other sort of projects and dreams that I'd like to do within the equestrian community. But I feel like I have talked quite a lot today about myself as well, which I don't always like doing. Talking about horses, yes. Talking about YouTube, yes. But talking about myself, maybe not so much. So that is pretty much where I am now, making videos once or twice a week, doing lots of other cool behind the scenes projects that I am very lucky to say that I'm doing, and hopefully bringing the equestrian world into the 21st century, moving it forward a little bit, because there is so much within the equestrian community that really does need to change. But anyway, guys, before today's video ends, I'd just like to say a huge thank you for watching, especially if you made it all the way through, because I have a feeling this is definitely going to be a little bit of a chatty video. I really do appreciate every single one of you that watch the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!